Hey, it's Joe Glines from the Automator, and this video is a little extract from the Hero group. The other day, we talked about the differences between loops and timers, and when you probably want to use a timer over a loop. Loops are really lock down your script, right? They force you to only do stuff inside that portion, but a set timer allows you some other stuff. So Azace walks through it. Again, the Hero program, it's a great program. We have 3 hours of calls a week where we level people up with these little great tips and tricks and answer their questions. Like the video if you learn something. It really helps us out.
Have any questions, anything that you're working with? For those who joined a little bit later, maybe you have a question before I move on to other topics.
Well, the one I thought was really interesting was when you and Denelson it wasn't a planned call. Azace just joined. I was working with Denelson and we started doing stuff. And Azace was looking at using a loop versus a set timer and how they work a little differently and why. I thought it was really.
Yeah. So, and not only that, and I was surprised by his question. I didn't know the 100% answer to that question, but I knew enough AutoHotkey to have an informed guess on that one, which turned out to be correct. So the idea here is, you know that loops in AutoHotkey kind of block code. And and the cool thing, which is why Joe kind of like was so happy to see that, is that the example that I provided was so graphic that it is very simple to understand and very nice. Okay, so the idea was, hey, let's say that you have a message box here, start, and then we have a message box stop here, right? All good. What happens here is you will get both message boxes, one to start, one to go. All right, interestingly, it's not highlighting. All right, but if you add a loop, and it could be any sort of loop, it could be a for loop, a while loop, a normal loop, a files loop, whatever it is. While that loop is going, nothing else runs. So right now, I just created what is called an infinite loop. I don't like those. They're very annoying. And when that happens, you will get the first message box, you will get the tooltips, but you will never get the second loop, the second message box, because this loop is actually blocking the code and it's never going to continue unless you exit out of the loop, which in code right now, it has no way of exiting. So I just created an infinite loop. It will never come out of it. And this will never happen. Simple to understand. That happens because AutoHotkey is single threaded and you cannot create multiple threads. And even if you can create certain pseudo threads, they're not really different threads. They're the same thread. It's just that we go and do other things every certain amount of time, which is what a timer does. So set timer goes ahead, and says show tip. Well, no, let's do this tooltip, and now let's make it like this. Every 10 milliseconds, I'm gonna create that function here, and what it does is that it has a counter, static counter, and then tooltip count plus plus. So I'm just gonna modify the number and show it. Now, I will remove this loop from here. And what is going to happen is that as this is a timer that is being checked every 10 seconds, I will get both message boxes and I will also continue having the tooltip. So everything works as expected. I did get both and I did get my tooltips. All good. That's the difference between timers and loops. A timer, in this case, can act as a loop because, again, look at that. I'm having a counter that is going up. And I could use that as an index. And I can say if a index or if index is whatever, I will do whatever. So I can use that as a loop if I wanted to. But Denison had a great question. Okay, when I have a loop, an infinite loop, A index here. Would this loop block the timer? Remember, loops block everything. I will not see this message box because the loop is going and I'm done. But if I had a timer, does it block this particular timer as well? My guess at that point was, no, it does not. Because even if you're looping, what the timer does is that it stops every single one of the threads and goes and checks on the message queue, something in which we have certain things queued, which is this tooltip. It will do what it's supposed to do, and then it will come back to the loop. That's what it's supposed to do. And to display it, what I said is, okay, let me give you the X, Y, and then I'm going to give you 2 tooltips. Now, this one is going to be really fast. And right now, even though you cannot see that, both are kind of like working at the same time. Now, how did I do this? I told him, okay, let's have a sleep in here of, I don't know, 5 seconds. And now what should happen is I should have one tooltip in one place and another one that follows my mouse. And every time, every 5-second delay, I get the other tooltip. You see that? So this is working. The other way around is correct, is true as well. I can have a 5-second delay here. I'm gonna show this tooltip every 5 seconds, and this one is gonna be as fast as I can. And there we go. So I got my tooltip, and after a while, I will get this one over there. And after a little while, I will get another one here. So again, it doesn't matter how I do it, but both loops are seemingly going at the same time. And basically, if I make this one every 10 milliseconds and this, I just move it out of the way, I can say, you know, mouse get position X and Y, right? And I say X plus 50 and Y plus 50. I should get both tooltips at the same time. See that, right? So even though I do have a loop here that is supposed to be blocking stuff, it does not block timers, which is good to know because there are certain locations in which you want something to be looping through something, and then you want to do another action, and then you're like, how do I do that? Well, a timer is the way to do that. You will just set a timer that automatically checks or does whatever you need. And then and you can set a timer for a one-time run, for example. So if you really just need to show a message box, so you want to show the loop here, but then you want to show a message box after a certain amount of time, just make a negative number and you say, after 5 seconds, go ahead and display the message box that I want, but don't run that again. I just want you to show it once. And that's what negative numbers mean in a timer. And that means independent of my loop, that message box will show up. So basically, I started, I have my loop, and after a while, I should get a message box, stop, I hit OK, but I will never get that message box again because that timer is a one-time thing. Does that make sense? So it's great to know. If you are inside a loop and you want to check for other things while that loop is running, a timer is the way to go.